Okay, welcome everyone to today's London to New York crossover with the Harmonic scanner. Nice to see you all. It won't let me stream live onto Facebook today. Sometimes it does that, so it's just a Zoom meeting. If you're not a member and you are on the financial, hang on, dog seen an animal on TV, then if you can just mute yourself out, because this isn't, sort of kind of very, members can ask any questions they want, but, we get filled up with all sorts of very basic questions. Oh, there's something in the chat there already. Let me just have a look at that before we share screen. When you draw the second pitchfork on a scan from X to A, can you line up any of the pitchfork lines with either C or D, or must it just be the outer lines? No, it should be the outer line, but if you can't, then you just have to go for best fit, John, with the most touches. It then becomes a bit of a judgment call. I have moved them around where it is other lines. The important thing is it must be in the opposite direction of the current scan where you've drawn the first pitchfork. Okay, does that make sense? Now I've just been sent 2 drawings by someone, so we'll start off by having a look at these. So this is New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Someone's just sent me this chart, so you can see this blue, there's a bit of a crisscross, but these blue lines going down at the pitchfork. This is the 5-minute chart. So they've marked up what they're looking for, which is this line here, 0.65002. So we'll come and have a look. We'll come and have a look at this on our charts. Now remember, it is, if I show you on Forex Factory, higher, we check that every morning, and we've obviously got bank holiday today because it's 4th of July tomorrow. So, the very, I don't trade when it's US bank holiday and it's 4th of July, so you're not going to get, there's not a lot of action going on. So here we've got.
And I was just using that as a marker point to see the difference in movement between the 5-minute and the 1-minute chart.
Oh, are you talking to me, Matthew?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sorry. Hi, how are you?
You're fine. It's good.
Ah, good. Yeah. Yeah. So what is
just
the
a marker point just to see the difference between the 2 charts on the different time frames.
Ah, okay. So that's the 1 minute where the 1-minute pitchfork would be. Is that right? What's the red mark here?
That's just where I put a brush mark where, so I can see the difference between the 5-minute and the 1-minute. So yeah. if you look at the 2, you'll see that the extensions are in different places. The extensions on the 1-minute should be cutting through those 2 higher lows, running more along the lines of the 930.
Yeah, here.
Rather than below it.
Rather than there. Yeah. So on the 1-minute, it'll be up here rather than here, is what you're saying. So yeah, the only thing that is confusing me is that these extensions, which have come off a previous scan, I wouldn't normally be using to do anything other than have them faded out as possible stall out lines. I'd be taking my trades off these lines here. So we'll come over to Harmonic Scanner and just have a look at that on Trading View here. So when you're in IM, you get the Academy and the little videos go through Forex, the 100 series here under Academies. And then we're going to come down to Strategies, which is where we have all our products. And this is the Harmonic Scanner. That's a new pop-up that they've done, which is free with the lowest cost package. This is what I use. And I'm not sure if this NU must be this one. Yeah, so here's the chart here. This is the scan that TradingView chart's taken off. Make sure your time frame is the same as your local area so that you're going to get it lined up accurately. And I think I probably have drawn this one now, because this is what's called a shark. We only enter when price is at the second entry point. Shark is the only pattern which has 2 entry points, or when price is at least 50% towards take profit 1. So we'll just come over to our trading view and pull that chart up on my trading view. Oh, and in fact, it must have been the last one I've done, because that's come up. So this is the chart on the 1 minute. That's the blue line, which is the 15-minute moving average. So at the moment, what is this? I haven't got quarter theory on. So let's break it down. I may not have that other scan that has the extensions, the same one as my quarter theory.
It's not another scan, it's a second pitchfork off of the
okay,
off of the XA.
Right. So did price move out? Did you draw it off a previous scan then the second? Why have you drawn a second pitchfork now?
It's just a best fit.
Yeah, but price hasn't moved out of this scan. So is there any need to have a second pitchfork at the moment?
Just practice.
Okay. Okay, that's great. So here is the scan. And if you break it down with your confirmations, we've got on the 1 minute, we've got the break and the retest of the D point, and obviously another big break and retest there. But if you're going to work off a very big break and retest, that means you would be in a trade for a longer period of time, like looking at the 1 hourly or the 4 hourly time frame. Because we're on the 1 minute, we're looking for a concentrated area for all our confirmations to work together. So the orange EMA is the 1 minute, the current momentum in the market. So you can see it crossed over on the 1st of July and it's still carried on up. So it's up here at the moment. So the orange EMA, the current momentum, which is what we call the 62 EMA, is still in a buy mode. And the pitchfork is saying sell. And for, where's my quarter theory? Oh, why am I quarter? Oh, there it is, sorry. So, and then prices between the quarter theory, because normally I'd like the quarter theory somewhere up here. So if we put our sell position on, because we only want to take a scan in the direction, a trade in the direction of the scan until it hits the median point, which is this point down here, the unbroken white line. So then we have to say to ourselves, well, what other confirmations have we got? Because we haven't got quarter theory. We haven't got the orange EMA telling us to sell until it points downwards and crosses over the blue line. So we haven't got enough confirmations for a sell at the moment. So the only other thing, and remember the US is on holiday, so this is only really practicing, because I don't think seriously we'd want to take a trade anyway, to be honest. But if we put a fib retracement on from the previous high to low, it might be too small, like that. Then even on that, it's sitting between, it's not hitting, well, it's just hitting the 61.8 there, which means it would come down to the 0 as our take profit 1. We use these as our take profit zones. Take profit 1 for the 0, take profit 2 minus 27, take profit 3 on the quarter theory. So that's how I would be looking at that setup. And as if we come back to this chart here, this is the 1 minute, you can see that's pale blue with the downward spike there is here. That's there on the 5 minutes, and that's what that's the point that we're looking at. Oh, sorry, that is on the 1 minute, so it's the same one. So that's where we are with this chart at the moment. We'll have a look at the other one. Oh, I see, and that's the 5 minutes. So there's the 5 minutes. So this is a really good illustration of showing you how we use the moving averages, because on the 5 minute chart, we've got this spot marked here, and it moves up. Does it move up? That's our 5 minute. So on the 5 minute, you can see your pale purple 15-minute moving average is down here, and on the 1 minute, the current momentum in the market. Oh, this must be the 62 EMA. The current momentum is, yes, it's no, that's my blue one. Sorry, 15 minutes. Sorry, it's just a bit confusing for me when I look at other different colors. And I'll just go over that once more. So on the 5 minute, the 15-minute moving average is all the way down here, and we want the 1 minute, the orange one, to be crossing down below, telling us that it's selling. That's our current momentum in the market for our confirmation. So if we come to the 1 minute chart, you can see it is indeed moving closer, and the 15-minute one has come right up here, and the orange one looks like it's going to be pointing down. So this is the current momentum in the market on the 1 minute, if that makes sense. Okay. So thank you for those. It was nice to be able to look at some charts. And let's come back to, I'll just take this off at the moment. So that's NZD-USD. So what I was going to talk to you about today were as well, because I was typing up some notes from listening to your game plan for success. And there was a very good little sort of session that Chance did on how to actually get really good at Forex, and the lessons that he learnt, and how he believes that it's possible to go about Forex the right way, not the wrong way, and to save yourself a lot of time, money and effort. And what he says is to, there's this 3-step game plan for success. So number one is to pick your strategy, and there are thousands of strategies, as we know, or hundreds of strategies. So you've got to decide what type of trade you are, what time of day you can trade, how you like to trade, and then find out what works best for you, and really decide on one strategy. So that means going through the academy, the Forex 100 series, because that will teach you the basics of the history of Forex, who the players are, sort of the basics of the language, as he calls it. So the example he gives is, if you're learning a language, and someone comes to you and says, I'm going to be, I think it's called a polyglot, someone that speaks multiple languages, I'm going to learn 15 languages all at once. And then the other person comes to you and says, well, I'm going to Spain on holiday this summer, so I'm going to just focus on Spanish, learn Spanish for my holiday. And he said, I bet in 6 months' time, the person that tries to learn all the multiple languages isn't still learning them, or if they are, they're very confused. But the person who's just tried to focus on one language, is getting on much better, and has had an enjoyable holiday, and is fairly competent in Spanish. In other words, they've just focused on one strategy, if you want to translate that into Forex. So if you are serious about this, number one, you go through the academy, particularly the Forex 100 series, lots of little videos on the Forex 100, and then use the other ones as a library to delve into. So if you come here, here's the Forex one, and for some reason it's got it all coming up in foreign language. So general education, that's the one you want. What is Forex? History. They're just little videos, and then you tick the box, you do the little tests. Some of them have little tests. Market participants, broker versus trading platform. I mean, I've been through the whole lot. There's something like 62, 70, 62 items. So I'm now #1 in the Hall of Fame on this. And I went over, didn't go through them all at once, but, you just need to go through the 100 series. What are pending orders? 3 types of analysis. They're little videos. They're not long. Stop loss. So you've learnt the basics of the language, because it's like learning a foreign language. So #1, and then the other series, just dip into them like a library if you wanted to learn a little bit more about what Fibonacci is, or moving averages, or the different harmonic scans. They're all in the 200, 300, and 400 series, and some of them are about 40 minutes long, and they're more technical, but you don't have to go through the whole lot. But the series 1, I recommend that you do. So once you've learnt your strategy, then you need to pick an educator. Now, some people say, can you have more than one educator? Yes, you could have 2 educators, but Chance likens it to having 2 football teams. They may play the same game, but they may have a different psychology mindset. So one may, I don't know football terms, but one may play a long game, one may play a short ball game, whatever the terms are. So in that case, you're putting yourself in the position of having to be the funnel and the filter. So as long as you're comfortable with that, sifting out the psychology, different psychologists from the different educators, then fine. Personally, I prefer to stick to one educator and just really hone in on one strategy. In this case, Chance, going and follow them blindly, see their success, and just stick with that. So once you've decided on your strategy and your educator, then the third thing is, can you do the 20 hours a week that's required? And this is how we would look at it on the calculator. So if I just say 20 hours a week in total, and how do we break that down? Well, we would have 10 hours for trading. That 10 hours, if you're doing more than 10 hours live trading a week, then you are over trading, most likely over trading. You don't want to be doing more than 10 hours a week. And then take that off and have 5 hours for your 5 hours for your education. So that's an hour a day on your education. And then out of the other 5 hours, 4 hours, so I'm doing minus 4 hours on your back testing. Extremely important, like any sports person, to be able to look at your trades, how they went, how you could have done them better, how you could improve. And then he says 1 hour a day, 1 hour a week, which is just about 10 to 15 minutes each day when you're doing your live trading, which is for your current chart analysis, like we've just looked at that setup on NZD/USD. So that gives you your 20 hours a week. Now, if you say you haven't got 20 hours a week, I actually looked at some surveys the other day for one of the Facebook Lives that I did, and it said over 6 months, if you break down how many hours you've got 720 hours in 6 months. I'm sorry, I haven't got the figures in front of me, but if you take off sleeping and eating, it comes down to something like 420, then 380. I can't remember the exact figures. And then after you've been at work 40 hours a week, and this is over 6 months, you're left with 10 hours a week, and that's after absolutely everything. So all you've got to squeeze out is another 10 hours a week if you're really serious about this. And some of that 10 hours a week, remember, could be on a Saturday or Sunday. So, apart from the live trading, you're back testing or something. So you're looking to find about an extra hour and 15 minutes a day to make this work really well for you, so that you can, change your life. So that's what I wanted to go through today, was how you break down getting really good at this. So let's just have a look at, I want to come back to the harmonic scanner to see if I've missed any chart setups. Now, you can use any of these brokers here on this list. It doesn't matter who your trading platform is with. The main feed for the scanner is Traders Way, so I usually start with that. And on this strategy, we're using the 1 hour time frame analysis. So I've got Euro Ord there, which is a new one. So our scan criteria is C to D, 80 pips. Ignore the point to the right of the decimal point, so it's 273. That's big enough for us, but we want to wait until it's moved off the D point, 20 pips there, 20 pips up to that entry point until we draw the scan. And then the beautiful thing is now some people put levels on at this point and they wait for the break and the retest with a low pip drawdown and then they take off. But you'll have a much more accurate entry if you simply click on a pitchfork rather than drawing all those levels and doing it that way. My drawing tool's in the way. So let me just move that. So this is, and normally I'd take that, I don't ever draw up on the scanner, but I'll just see if I can just get rid of that background. So some people are drawing levels at this point on the 5 minute, but if you just saw what I did, it literally took 5 seconds. Click on a pitchfork. Now, a pitchfork has Fibonacci built into it, which makes it a highly aggressive trend line, far more accurate than any trend line you can draw. So if you just put that on your D point and use that as your break and your retest, or put your fib on, which is a little bit more advanced, but use your pitchfork, you've got a highly accurate entry on the 1 minute. This is obviously hourly, and that's how you can get away with a very, very small stop loss. Okay. How the hell do I remove that on here? Don't think I've ever actually drawn anything on here. There we are. Okay, so that is NZD USD. Euro GBP. That looks like a very small one. Tiny, tiny, weeny, weeny. So I'm not going to bother with that. That's there. Only 21. Tiny baby one. USD JPY, that looks like a tiny one as well. You can tell that it's not going to be anywhere near 80 pips, 39 pips. So we don't bother with that. And the reason we have the minimum of the 80 pips is so it gives us 20 pips per pitchfork leg. Again, this is a very simple system. Minimum brain power, 10 pips stop loss, 20 pips per visual leg that you're looking at on your pitchfork. What's not to like? So you've got a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Makes it very, very easy when you're in the trade to work out what you're doing. I should think I've drawn this one already. I'm not sure because I was up quite late. So check the time frame down there. C to D, 170. That looks good. And it also looks like it's moved off that D point, 37. So that's good. So we can have a look at this one. So when you want to draw a scan, come to the X point. So you'll have it in your local time. So I've got the 23rd of June, and there are 2 ways you can draw the scan on. I'll show you in a minute. The A is the 24th of June at 11. The B is 26th of June at 0600. C is 26th at 2100, and D is 2nd of July at 1500. So let's come over to our NZD JPY hourly. Load the chart. There we are. Put it on the hourly time frame. It must match your harmonic scanner time frame when you're drawing them. Maybe I didn't draw this one. So what I like to do is just make it as clean as possible when I'm drawing them. Let's get rid of that old alert line. and I change my old pitchfork colors. I have the most recent ones in white. So here's our, so we're looking for 23rd, it's reversal points in the market. So we want the 23rd, we're looking for a, get rid of that. We're looking for a high point there. It's going to be that one. So there are two ways you can draw a scan. You can look for the high, you can look visually and then go back to the harmonic scan and just see it lines up. High to low, to high, to low, to high, something like that. Or you can get the brush mark. Neither's right nor wrong, just whichever you think what is going to work best for you. So it looks like 24th of June at 11 is there. 26th of June at 0600 is going to be there, the next high. 26th at 2100 is going to be there. And then the 2nd of July at 1500 is going to be round about there. Come back and get your scanner pattern. Make sure the magnet is on because you want it, it's exactly on the end of the wicks. So that's the 1400 down to the next one, 11 up to 0600, 21, oops, that's the 2300. I'll have to come back and adjust that. I think I've done that slightly wrong. And then the 1500 one. So that should be the, that should be 21. Oh, that's market open. So you want, if you're a bit confused, now on my scanner, it said the, it says there on the hourly, oh, sorry, it is 2300. That's why you check, because you have to get them accurately. So that is correct. So then I like to just tidy up the brush marks as I go along. And everything I've learnt, I just stick to this one educator, or Sam and Chance. She also does the educating as well. And that's simply all I've learnt it from. I haven't got, I used to get diverted by everything, try everything, do a bit of this, bit of that, all on the same account. You can't work out your percentages and your compound accurately. If you are trading other people's signals and trade ideas and your own strategy, then you need two separate accounts, because you'll then be able to look at the percentage and the compounding accurately. If you're mixing strategies, you can't do that, and you'll get very confused about your real progress. So personally, I just follow one educator blindly, and I've done just that since February 2019. Been on every session up until about the October, November. I still go on most of them, even the beginners ones. As Brian knows, I learn something new every time. And sometimes I'm sat here marking charts up while I'm listening to them on the beginners ones, but I love the questions that people have. So just come down to the 1 minute and make sure your points are on accurately. This is the only fiddly bit, but it does have to be accurate. And then, as you've seen, we trade off old pitchforks with confidence, knowing that they're accurate forever. We do check them. That one happens to have gone on perfectly onto that market open. That's that gap. That's market open here. You can see there. Now I only trade, I mean, I don't trade 22 hours a day, clearly, but that's the only gap I never ever trade, which is the market open. And that's the Sydney session, that 2 hours there, which I've got in black. So I never ever trade that. Neither does Chance. So as I say, anything I tell you, it's not stuff I've, you know, it's only, I'm only teaching what I've learned. Invest, learn, teach. I'm not telling you anything that has not come directly out of what they say. Because why fiddle with something if it's working? That's my view. Although I was tempted with one of our students, Matthew, if he's still on, will know him, David Mock, Brian knows. He uses the Fast 33 indicator. Now it does need an enable code, because it came from Steve Gregor, who used to be in IM but isn't in any longer. But I should think one of our enable codes would work for that. Now I was tempted to put that on because apparently Chance and Samantha used to teach it, But I thought, well, if they're not teaching it anymore and it's still working for us, why do I want to add something else back on? And I know David's been in a long, long time, so he was, you know, probably using it long before I came on the scene following that educator. So I must say that's the only one that I was a bit tempted with. Now, lock them on, then you can't make a mistake and glitch your pitchfork, and then we're good to go. So we'll just come and have a look at this setup up here. So similar one to the NZD USD. Now notice it has not ever broken and retested the D point. Put our indicators back on. So it's telling us a very similar story, isn't it? It's saying that the orange has crossed above, so it's in buy mode as one of our confirmations. It's above quarter three, second confirmation is saying buy, and it hasn't broken and retested. We have no pitchfork touch, so we don't have any confirmations for a trade. And also it's a sell scan, and we would want to be just taking trades in the direction of the scan. So we're not going to do anything with this until it comes up here. And this is another thing I love about this system, is you can just set your alerts and still be within striking distance of your computer, but you can still watch Netflix, play Call of Duty, go in the garden, make your dinner, whatever you're doing, while you're waiting for alerts to go off. So I find it a very smart system to trade. I like my alerts all in pale blue, so I don't get muddled up thinking they're a trend line. And that means I've got minimum effort when I come to the chart. I'm not thinking, you know, what am I looking for, because I've done my chart setups beforehand. So price can only do two things. It can do that, or it can do a break and retest and carry on up. So I know when that alert goes off, that's all I'm looking for. So once it's done that, then I need to line up my confirmations, which would be the check sheet that we use with the pitchfork touch, and then the other, any of the other two of the other confirmations on that sheet. And it's the same system over and over. So that's NZD JPY, and we'll just see what else we've got. And I will be on tomorrow at 3 p.m. UK time if anyone wants to come on for a chat. I'll find some other things to talk about, like I talked about the game plan for success today. I thought I might try and go through the confirmations. I'm not sure yet, just to break them down. So I thought that might be useful for us. So come back onto the scanner, and we've done that one. Oh, now that I really don't like. There's no way I'm going to be drawing that one, because it's a failed, definitely a failed scan. It's gone straight up there, and I don't like the look of that at all myself. So I'd want to wait till next week to see what reprints on that. And I'm not that bothered about NZD CAD anyway, to be honest. Got plenty of other fish to fry. GA we know about. I'm sure we've all got that one, working its way very nicely down past TP2. So what you're waiting for with the scans is that they complete, most of them, down to TP3 off that C point, and then the scan's completed, and you'll have the outer extensions, and normally, like Bollinger Bands, price will want to go back into the scan. As we know, sometimes it doesn't, but that's what the extensions are there for. So we haven't got any more on there. I very rarely look at the 4 hourly. Sometimes we do. There's a gold one there, which I don't trade with my broker. And those later ones we will we will have been through all these anyway, so there's nothing else showing there, and I'm sure Brian would have piped up if there was. So let's come back to the chart.
You started early today, Sarah. I mean, I didn't even have time. Well, I did look at the charts, but I found like 1 or 2 shark patterns that needed to wait a little longer, and that was about it.
Who started early?
You did. It's Friday.
No, I didn't. I didn't go to bed till 5 a.m. my time.
Ah.
That was the thing. I was writing an ebook, but
No, normally the Fork Friday thing doesn't start until 2 hours later.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry about that. I got I will be on tomorrow. I mean, for the messenger session. That's in the morning, isn't it? I beg your pardon. Getting confused. I know. Sorry about that. I thought I'd come on earlier because, well, I just did. You know, got a bit.
Hey, it's your schedule.
Yeah. So, because I'm going out to. I haven't been out to anything social because of COVID and everything, but I'm actually going out to quite a big party tomorrow, which starts earlier. So, and I've got to make stuff to take with me. So I thought, oh, I think I'm going to run out of time. So what should we look at now? Let's just see if anyone's got anything they want to talk about, please do. Let me think I know we were looking at some of the trades. Yeah, oh, mind you, I've been through so many of these. Thinking about the trades that we took yesterday, what worked out. Because some of them, I've forgotten what we were in now. Let me look at my previous sheet. Let's look at CAD JPY. I may have taken my marks off as well. Sometimes I try and remember to keep them.
You posted a GA trade in Raining Pips yesterday.
Was it GA? Thanks. There was 2 and I was following the other one. Several of them worked out fine. GA would be quite nice to go through. Hopefully I did keep the markups because of today.
And then you had a GU one that went for a few pips.
Right, thank you. Very helpful. Probably taken my markups off. I wonder if I can go back that far doing the reverse arrow. Was it going to take off my new? It's going to take off my new scan, but it doesn't matter. I can put it back on.
In terms of the scans getting older and then becoming, you can't go down to the 1 minute because TradingView doesn't go back that far. Is it worth putting both pitchforks on now if I haven't got any scans for the future, or is that not worth worrying about?
What you mean? You mean putting the second?
Yes.
No, we never put the second pitchfork on until price has moved out of the scan.
By which point, though, you potentially isn't as accurate because you can't go back as far in TradingView, no?
Well, we do put second pitchforks on. I'm going to have to close that because I've got myself. I wish I'd kept the marks.
Well, the way I look at it, I don't really draw a second pitchfork, so I haven't had the opportunity or the need to do it yet, because usually on fast-moving pairs, you're going to get a new scan in a couple of days anyways.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So you stick to the fact that they actually repeat quite a lot.
The only ones that you might have a worry on is like the slower moving pairs like Euro GDP. It doesn't get scans very often.
Okay. I mean, I'm just going with what I've got. So there's a new one just come up, isn't there? I'm just going through what there is now to get scans for everything so I can learn the crack, really. But
Yeah, your best bet is just to start going through the Harmonic scanner, draw them up as you see them, and just keep building your chart library. Now, to make your life easy, go find the video on setting up TradingView that I did in our Sarah's group there.
Yeah, I've watched that, and I've watched Samantha's.
There you go. Then you'll be all set.
Annoyingly, I actually went through Samantha and Chances the day before Les summarised Samantha and Chances in about half the time. So, such is life. It's good. It is quite long-winded if you try and go through IM Academy too much. It depends how much time you've got, doesn't it? But yeah, sometimes you get like 20 minutes of info. It's great, but in an hour, and then you go for the next one, and then the next one, and then actually you should watch it again really to get the most out of it.
Yeah, because if you listen to all of Chance and Samantha's videos, they suggest go watch their favorited videos at least 3 times, because that's usually how long it takes for people to get a light bulb moment.
Yeah, I saw that. So I've watched a couple twice. I haven't watched all of them once yet. It's good. I do like listening to them chat. It was interesting the other day when they were talking about oil, and Chance was getting excited about making money doing something else. It's quite funny. When oil dropped to negative.
Yeah, for that few hours on that one day.
Yeah, but then they were backtracking and going, "We're not recommending it. It's not something that they were obviously just chatting." And then suddenly we're like, "Oh my God, we're like live, and everyone's going to start, doing something that we're not trained to teach them." So.
Yeah, every once in a while, if you watch his calls, he'll flick over to a Bitcoin chart, and he wants it to crack 10,000.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of their profit they put into Bitcoin for the long term. Not a lot. They put bits money into Bitcoin for the long term, he said on one of them. It seems like quite a clever thing, actually, if you look at it. How it's working out. Do you know if there's a way of automating getting the points off of the Harmonic scanner? Because really you just need a spreadsheet, don't we? Well, you do need to be able to see what it's done as well, but
right. But
I need to know. I've got a notebook now where I'm writing X, A, B, C, D for all my pairs. But a computer could do that.
I'm sure you could probably find a way to do it, but at the end of the day, you still got to go in, copy it to TradingView, move the points down to the 1 minute. So,
yeah.
And then draw your pitchfork.
Yeah, it's not massive at the moment. It's great. It's great practice. I think my mind struggles sometimes when it realizes that a computer would be far better at doing something that I'm doing very slowly.
Yeah, but with the more you do, the quicker you become at doing it. So it's even when there's a bunch of scans, they don't really take all that long to draw.
No, it's true. It's a bit hypnotic once you get going as well.
Yeah, because the way I do it is for me, when there's a bunch to do, I go through the Harmonic scanner, write down all of the points for all of the charts. So I'm not flicking back and forth all the time, and then just go to TradingView and bang them all out.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've noticed that you put the A and B points down to the 1 minute as well, but you don't use them really. No,
well, the B point is kind of irrelevant. I'm particular on the A point because that's the second point you use for an alternate pitchfork. So I like to get that one to peg it down in case you ever have to use it in the future.
Yeah, fair enough. Because I didn't bother. I just was doing X, C, and D because I knew that I needed those. And then I've noticed that A might be useful, which hence asking about the second pitchfork skills. So, I've got to take a call, sorry.
So I think it was this point here yesterday, Brian, on this GA trade. I should have kept the markup. I don't know why I didn't. Sorry. It's because it only broke through 7 or 8 pips. I think it was this one. But the thing that's confusing me is that says 3 o'clock my time, and we would have finished the call by then. And I thought we were actually discussing it.
Yeah, the shot you posted in Discord shows entry between 3 and 3:30.
Oh, okay. Well, it's this one then, because it did go that 36 pips down to that. So let's just replay this and talk this through then, because I'll come up to end of hello, replay. Just come up to the end of London. Sorry, just that bit there. So just, sorry, just when we finish the session, I mean, not end of London. So it's about here, isn't it?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Okay, so here's our pitchfork, and we need a pitchfork touch in order to trade. So a sell scan, the 62 is dropping down. We want it to come below quarter theory, and we need a pitchfork touch before we're going to get into this as a trade. So we're looking at that as a setup. So bang, price comes down. That's our 3 o'clock candle round about here. We don't get into trades just before the hour. Sorry, it always glitches when price. Oh, I can keep that turned off because I've drawn my own quarter theory. So it didn't do a fake out to the upside on the hour, which sometimes it does. And now you can see it is coming down past the pitchfork. Now, my issue with this when saying, okay, we've got a trade set up, my concern, if you remember what I said yesterday, was it only broke. Well, there it's saying 5.2, but I thought it had broken 7 or 8. So in that case, it's a little bit difficult because we like the break and the retest of 10 pips, and it's a very fast pair. So that's where it's kind of like individual judgment call whether you're going to get into a trade or not. It did end up doing the 36 pips. We have got a strong downward momentum if you look at your trend line down here, because you've got a trend line off the D point across here, and then you've got a new channel trend line forming straight down here. So we're now into just past the hour. So it's kind of, yeah, it's looking good. We've got the pitchfork touch. And then I went over this myself yesterday, and I thought, well, could I have been more stronger in saying, yes, we can all get into this. I feel confident about it. And I thought, well, actually, if I then went back over it, which I did, so I've only got a small break and a retest there. I'm past the hour. I've got a doji candle there, which means a trade can be 50-50. It can go either way. I have got the orange coming now down past quarter theory on the 1 minute. Remember, that's current momentum in the market. So that's looking very good for a sell. And then here, this candle here at 11 minutes past, where it wicks off. The candles tell the story, remember, where it wicks off the pitchfork. And then the next one here, that little one there, where it completely wicks off, rejects the pitchfork. So really we've got one, that one tried to break through. There's a doji up there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's your entry candle. So, you know, I can't really give you a definitive decision. It's kind of a feeling, and you've got to decide whether you're going to go for it or not, because it didn't give us that much of a break. But it is a very fast pair, and you can see that very nice downward trend forming. There, it's natural flow of the market. It comes back on us, 18 pips actually, which is quite a lot. And it's dropped off that pitchfork by, so your 10 pip mark round about here. At that, when it gets to there, it would have beeped at you, and then put your 1 pip stop profit in, but you might want to keep it behind the pitchfork to be safe. So that probably wouldn't have taken you out on your spread and commission if it reverses the 18 pips. But again, this is where you've got to use your judgment and leave enough for the broker's spread and commission on a fast pair. It's not unusual to get an 18 pip reversal, so you're not going to get taken out of the trade if you want to, you know, if you're convinced it's still going down. Because if we draw on our trend line, we have got a very nice trend line down here, haven't we? Even if we didn't have it over, I don't know why it's glitching. Let's put it.
You have your magnet on.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. So you've got a touch there, and up there. So I won't fiddle with it as we're on the replay. You don't need to fiddle with it too much, but there's your very decent trend line. Pop that in green. In green there. So again, it's coming back up on you. What's that, about another 16 pips? So you might have decided to have got out here because of that wick back, particularly once it broke the trend line. So you don't need to get out while it's still below the trend line. If it's coming above the trend line, you might be thinking, oh, okay, then shall I come away with my 10 pips? But it kind of respects the trend line again, and then it's starting to come back up, but it hasn't come right back up to test the 62. And then it does actually, it's trying to meet it there. And that's the lowest point, and that was 36 pips on that wick. And then it does come right back up. So in fact, the 7 to 8 pip break, after it had rejected again, and you were here, did work for us in terms of the sell. You know, it was quite a nice move, but it wasn't a 10 pip break and retest. You did have, you know, the buy candle, you did have the confidence as well. It's just, it's not an engulfing candle. It's slightly smaller than that sell candle. So try and read the candles. You know, it couldn't quite push up. It wasn't an engulfing buy candle. I'll just finish playing that out, show you how it comes back up. And that was that 36 pips was its lowest point, touching the quarter theory. And there it is coming back up to the pitchfork. Now let's see if we've got now we haven't really got a buy here because we didn't get the break and the retest. So that was 3.2 pips. I wouldn't have got in on a buy there. And you've got quarter theory sat up there, unless I could have put and it's off the D point, so we're only looking for sells. So it came right up to quarter theory. Notice that the 62 didn't actually cross the 15-minute. I don't know where price is at the moment. We're just finished playing it out. So it's just doing its thing along the 62 in between the quarter theory. And then it's trying to break down through. And of course, today's bank holiday. So that must be, that's close of market. So that's all that's settling up, spreads and things. And then obviously this is today. Look at the small volume in the market. That's why I don't trade when it's US bank holidays, because, you know, look, there's no one in, no one working, no one trading over there. So very little to do. Just sidling along. So we're not going to see very much more on this. I'll just finish that, I think. Okay, so that was the trade on there. And then there was another one, but I can't remember which one it was. Was it OR JPY or CAD JPY? There were a couple of others that did follow the markups yesterday. Let's have a look at and then, unless anyone's got any questions, I think we'll call it a day. 1st of July, that one. I don't know why I took all my markups off. I'm really sorry about that. I can't remember which was the other couple that we looked at. So we had GA. I had CAD JPY. Was it Ord CAD? No, forgotten. Might be Ord CAD. But again, if I've taken my markups off, I think it might have been a buy on there. Well, there's some chats in the thing as well. Oh yes, here we are. I've kept the markup on this one. So when we were looking at this, just go back to the replay and then we'll New York Open yesterday. So price was down here and I said we were looking for that and we were looking for the 62 to curl up above this pitchfork, and if it did that with our usual confirmations, break and the retest and all the rest of it, then we would look for a buy, and that is what happened. So just coming into 2 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. UK time to 4 p.m. UK time, just round about here, just where that happens to be, is where New York takes off. And so it comes right down through the quarter theory, and then it's coming up here. So we've got our extensions here. It is a buy scan. There's the break and retest there. And you've got your 62 curling upwards. So I'll just mark the entry for you because it does do the, and OrCAD's quite a slow pair. That's right, so it didn't quite do the 20. It only did, it did 17. So in terms of, I was going to put the quarter theory on. Take that, don't need to do the replay. We'll just look at this markup for entry. Let's take that off. That curled up how we wanted it to. So you had the, that's only 4.5, so, and that's 6.4. So if you didn't get in till there. So again, we didn't have a 10 pip break and retest, and it only went the 17 pips. But we did have, notice how the 62 never crossed below the 15, not until it came over here. And you did have a trend line here, quite a nice trend line there. Or you could have done it back could have done it back here, because obviously you wouldn't have had all this at the time you were thinking about getting in. So not a 10 pip break and a retest, but you had 1, 2, 3, 4 rejections, 5. So you knew it was struggling to come back below. You had your 1 minute trend, which you could have then started to pull out as your trend, your trade trend once it started to move. And you could have got in here and then done your usual thing to protect yourself. Put your 1 pip. This is what I always do, as you know. Settings. So blue is always my lines for that sort of thing. There, and clone that. I put that at the 10 pips. Once I'm in, then I've got my visual dashboard. I don't have to, and I put an alert on it, as you know. So there's 10 pips up there. So if I had got into this and I was a bit worried, there's 10 pips. A bit worried about, although I had all those nice rejections, I had the 62 was curling round. I didn't have quarter theory, but I've got a 1 minute trend. Then I would have most definitely, once it got to that 10 pips, I would have moved that to 5. And then once it had broken there, if I had still stayed in, once I saw it was breaking here, it would have taken me out, but I would have come away with 5 pips. That's probably what would have happened to me on this trade if I'd have got in. But that's how you protect yourself and walk away with a little bit of money. If you don't think, because it hasn't done a big solid strong 10 pip break and retest for the strong upward momentum, so maybe it's going to fade on us, as indeed it did. You can at least get your 5 pips rather than just, you can see it drop quite rapidly, a 1 pip rather than just the 1 pip stop profit. And then what did it do after that? It carried on dropping, tested the 15-minute, never comes back above that pitchfork. Still playing along that pitchfork now, so it's only back up at that pitchfork. So that's it, unless anyone's got any questions, which I'm very happy to answer, then we'll call it a day. But I will be on Messenger in the morning if you are doing educational videos and you think there's any questions you've got that you think I can answer quickly for you.
What pairs would be best to concentrate on to start with?
Slower pairs. So first of all, OrdCAD is a very good one as a slower pair. USD Chef is a slower pair. They are about number 4 out of 10. CHF, Swiss franc, JPY is a 4. Depending on the leverage with your broker, though, you might not get much leverage on these FX crosses. Euro USD is a 5. There's a couple here that are only at a speed of 2, which it's like tortuously slow, which is NZD CAD and NZD USD and NZD CHF and ORD USD. And CAD Chef is a 1. I don't think I've ever traded that. USD Chef is a 2. Okay.
In the sounds of it, they're going to be so slow, it's going to be a bit painful, is it?
Well, yes. If I just look at CAD Chef, I don't even think I've got a scan on that. And then the other thing is, if you CAD got time to trade London, then that's where you'll get the biggest movement, the biggest session anyway. So even with the slower pairs, if they are in session, you know, you might be like picking a Euro one. Euro GBP, as Brian knows, is slower, but I do trade that one because I'm interested in it because of my bank accounts.
Your other challenge, though, with these slower moving pairs is they don't get harmonic scans very often. So what I've been doing is I mark up everything, and then for all of the ones that get regular scans, I thoroughly back test all the time, and I just go back and look for trade entries, even just from the back tested.
As in, you go back before replay and then try and imagine what might happen and see how it
Yeah,
pans out.
well, you know how it kind of turns out, but the main idea is that I'm looking for the entry points, and then I'm trying to train myself to see them faster.
Yeah,
so
that's
that
clever. Yeah.
That's the only way I can think to do it, since you don't very often get scan data for the slower moving pairs. They come up much less regularly.
Yeah, fair enough.
So this is USD Chef, which is a speed of 2 out of 10. So it's taken from 30th of June. That's taken 2 days to move 107 pips. And in London session with one of the fast ones like GA or GCAD or something, that could move 100 pips in about 30 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes. So, or at least 50 pips. So this one at the moment has come right down to the medium. So you can be, in fact, that's looking quite interesting for next week for a buy. Let's see what it's doing on the 1 minute. So the story on the 1 minute, I can see an old pitchfork just coming through there as well. There's an old pitchfork. So the story at the moment is that the pitchfork is saying sell because it's underneath the white pitchfork. It is it's buy according to the orange line because it crossed above here and it has not crossed below the blue again. The quarter theory is down here and that's saying buy, but the problem with it as a buy is that you wouldn't want to get into it till it's above that pitchfork, and you can't cover, as you know, although it's a slow pair, so you'll probably be all right. You can't really cover your pitch with your quarter theory with a 10 pip stop loss.
Sarah, in this case, would you consider your second old pitchfork as a reasonable good barrier too?
Well, yes, good point. I do pay attention to those. I agree. Not as strong as the quarter theory, though, probably.
Not necessarily, but it's
yeah.
still something.
Yeah, and in fact, that was the second pitchfork. And you can see I went for best fit. Someone was asking the question earlier. It's not on the C point because I was looking for those touches there. So, and touches there. So I still feel that the way I've drawn it is valid on that second pitchfork, even though I haven't gone off the C point there. So, you know, sometimes they are a judgment call. I could actually redraw it to make it touch that D point down there. So if I move that to the C point, there, move it to the C point. Oh, it's not touching down there. But actually that's not a bad fit either because I've got a touch there. I've got touch up there, all along there where it's stalling. So I might actually leave that like that. I'll just lock that on. And let's have a look at it down here. Got a touch there and there. And in fact, I prefer that, having lined it up with the C point. Yeah, so if we come back down to the 1 minute, let's see where it is. So it's now moved off it, hasn't it? Can't see it now. So it's moved off it, hasn't it, Brian? $52. 15 minutes. Yeah, so something like that on the slow pairs, and let's just have a look at AutoCAD again. That's a nice slow pair, 4 out of 10. And that's got a very nice trend on it. So that's got its higher lows forming, and there's I don't often trade the channel. I know Sam likes to do that. Clone it so you've got the same angle, and you could look at it. You could look at trading the channel if you're, as I said, she loves trading the channel. So it's gone, didn't quite hit there. It's gone hit there, didn't quite hit there. So you could follow that up, see how that works out. Okay, so I switched off the quarters. Yeah, quarters there is not. Oh, there it is. And that's outer extensions, I think, here. Okay, so I'm going to call it a day now then. I'll just check the chat. Looks like it's coming back into that scan now then. And then that's on the 15-minute, the orange is above quarter theory, and you can see it's moving up there. So that's what we mean by a slow pair, because if you look at the trend, it's quite slow to move along, isn't it? So I'll just stop share, and there's nothing else in the chat.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're very welcome. Yes, I write mine down every time, Brian, always do. Nice to see you, Hayley, Jason. Thanks for joining, John with an H, John without an H. Thanks for joining, Julie. Have a happy 4th of July, all you guys over in North America, including the Canadians. I'm sure it's any chance for an extra bit of beer and flag waving. I'll just stop the recording.